What we're talking about today is interval training, and interval training specifically related to fitness. So when it comes down to training for your capacity, so being able to move your 80 to 90% very efficiently, one of the best ways to do that is via interval training. So what is interval training exactly? So interval training really is being able to break up your workouts specifically in intervals. So you'll do work for a certain amount of time, and then you'll rest for a certain amount of time, do work, do rest, et cetera, throughout a lot of really nerdy science experiments and all sorts of different things. This has been found to be a very effective way to build your endurance, build your metabolic conditioning, ultimately your capacity. So not only is it great for just your overall endurance and your metabolic conditioning and your capacity type training, even if you weren't training to compete specifically in the tactical games, it's great for the tactical games because just about every single stage is set up basically as interval training. You're going to do a certain amount of work and then you're going to shoot. So your rest time is your shooting. You're going to go back and do work, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to repeat this and do this sort of thing as fast as you can for time usually. So with interval training, when you're in the gym, in your controlled environment, when you're working on specifically fitness, this is a very, very easy thing to set up, right? So you're going to set up your, whether it's strength, whether, you're focused on your rower, your assault bike, whatever the case may be is, you'll set up your work for a certain amount of, achieved effort, right? So it's whether I want to do a certain amount of calories or, max effort in a certain amount of time, and then I'm going to have my set amount of rest. Now, when it comes down to the tactical games, when you're actually competing and doing a stage, you're going to do your work as fast as you can, and then your rest period is only your shooting, right? So that's what we're ultimately training for, is being able to do our work very quickly, get it done very fast, but also not be so burnt out when we go to shoot that our heart rate's super high and we can't control our rifle or our pistol during our shooting. So when it comes down to training, however, we're still going to focus on that interval side of things when it comes to training, but we're going to change the stage up a little bit so we can, again, focus on the interval side of things. So just like anything else, skill isolation is key when it comes down to improving. So if I want to get better at shooting, I'm going to go, shoot. If I want to get better at fitness, I'm going to go to the gym and do fitness things to get better at fitness. But when we're out here, when it comes down to shooting for the tactical games, in order to get better at shooting for the tactical games, you need to do so with an elevated heart rate, right? So that means I'm going to have to do something to get my heart rate elevated to practice shooting under duress, basically. So something I like to do when I'm actually training for the tactical games on the range is implement my interval training. So implement my fitness side of things into the shooting, right? So I want to do something that improves my fitness, not just, do a mock tactical game stage, something that kind of assesses my fitness, but do something that is kind of part of my programming, right? So that means I'm going to work for a specific amount of time and I'm going to rest for a specific amount of time. Now, during that specific rest time is going to be my shooting. Now, generally during tactical game stages, like I said probably twice already, is you work and then you shoot, you work and you shoot, and you do all of these things as fast as you can. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do something different. We're going to work for a certain amount of time. We're going to rest for a certain amount of time. Now, during that rest time, we're going to shoot as many rounds as we can, right? So there's not a specific round count like you would normally see during a mock tactical game stage or a real tactical game stage. All I want to do is when I'm shooting during my elevated heart rate while I'm under duress, is I want to get as many good shots off as I can. I don't just want to blast the target. I just want to get, again, good, precise shots off. What this allows me to do also on the fitness side of things is I can go max effort during my my fitness interval, right? So that's something you normally don't want to do during tactical games stages. Again, we want to move at that 80, 90%. So when I get to my shooting, I'm not completely gassed. During training, during intervals, when you're in the gym, these intervals you want to do at a pretty high effort. You want to push past that 90%, sometimes to 95, even 100%. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to attempt to do just that, but I'm also going to do that with shooting. So we're going to work for a minute, we're going to rest for a minute, and during our rest is my shooting. And this is how we're going to work on our interval training during our actual mock stage today. So the stage today is going to be working on ruck running specifically and a little bit of explosive movement. So what I'm going to do during the 1 minute of work time is I'm going to run with an 80-pound sandbag on my back, 100 meters. So I'm going to go 50 meters out, 50 meters back. And then once I get back here, I got two sticks here that are about, 7 meters, 5 meters apart or so. And I'm going to throw the sandbag over the stick. So this is something that we do during tactical games, is sandbag throws, and that's what we're going to be working on today. So my score when it comes down to my fitness is how many reps I throw the sandbag, right? So my kind of buy-in is doing the 100-meter run, and then when I get back, max effort for as many throws as I can from stick to stick. During the rest time is going to be my shooting. So like I kind of already said, there is no specific round count here. My goal is to get as many on-hit paper shots as I can. So if I can get 100 shots off in a minute, which obviously I'm not going to be able to do, that would be fantastic. I may probably only get 10 or 15 off, but again, the goal here is to get as many hits as possible. So This is not really a stage that you can score. This is, again, a training specific thing, because if, you know, this was for real score, I could just game this and just blast the target as much as I want. But let's have some integrity. Let's try and get some good training in. So I'm going to go max effort during the fitness, so it makes the shooting even harder. In my shooting, all I want to do is try and break shots off that are actual hits. So the way we're going to set this up is I'm not going to carry any magazines on me during the work. I'm just going to leave all my magazines staged here. If you want to replicate this for yourself at home, just put as many mags as you want there. I'm just going to have 4 rifle and 6 pistol. Probably shouldn't even get close to shooting all that. For the rifle shooting itself, I'm going to be shooting off the tank trap barricade that Tactical Games uses. I'm using this barricade because, well, it's very common in the sport, and it's also kind of a difficult barricade support position to shoot at, so I'm trying to get better at it. And the pistol shooting is going to be single arm only. So we're going to do strong arm only and support hand only, and we're just going to alternate. So the flow of the work is going to be work, and then my first rest is going to be rifle shooting, and then I'm going to work, and then I'm going to do pistol shooting. Probably, you know, just pick my right hand first and go back to work and rifle shooting, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to do this for 8 total rounds. So that means 4 rounds of rifle shooting, 4 rounds of pistol shooting, 2 rounds with each arm of with pistol, and I'm going to do 2 rounds with the rifle shooting on each leg of the tank trap barricade, because each side is pretty different when it comes to the type of shooting. So in total, this is going to be 800 meters of ruck running with the 80-pound sandbag, plus the kit on me. It's about 100 pounds. It's not too much. And my goal for sandbag throws over this, I honestly have no idea. I think I'm going to have about 40 seconds of work per round. So we're going to go for, I don't know, 15 throws per round. So again, my score here is going to be how many throws I get with the sandbag. And I'm also going to count my hits. But again, this is where the integrity side of things comes into play. I'm not just going to blast the target as fast as I can to get max points. I'm only going to try and get hits. So I should have 100% hits, which I'm definitely not going to do because, you know, I suck at shooting. So let's get into this. So that stage wasn't the hardest. The 1 minute on, 1 minute off, that's definitely tended to be a sprint. So that 1 minute of work should have been like 100% max effort. But honestly, doing that with a lot of weight with like a sandbag is kind of difficult. It's just difficult to do. But it is what it is. So out of the 8 rounds, 4 of them I did 5 sandbag throws, and the other 4 I did 4. So definitely could not do 15. It just wasn't enough time. So here's the pistol target. No, I'm not shooting a shotgun, all right? So I don't want to hear it in the comments, all right? So this is 25 yards. I'm shooting, again, single arm only. This is both strong hand and support round hand. I shot 51 rounds total. This is an 8-inch by 8-inch box, so this is about half of an A zone. So again, 25 yards, about half of an A zone, maybe a little bit more. And this is pretty difficult shooting, if I'm being honest, even under duress. So let's just count the hits real quick. We'll count the line breaks as well. So out of the 51 rifle shots, I have, looks like 30 on the dot. So over 50%. That was what I was aiming for here. Again, single arm only, shooting under duress on this small of a target with a Glock is difficult. This is why people are shooting staccatos and Atlas pistols in the tactical games. It makes this type of shooting a lot easier. So the rifle target we shot at 220 meters off of the tank trap legs, like I already explained. Looks like I shot 45 rounds, sounds about right, and 30 of them are hits, give or take. Some of these are probably doubles. So this target, again, 8-inch circle. What am I, an idiot? This is a square. This is an 8-inch square at 220 yards. This is about the target size for tactical games. Generally, they're not squares though. They're like triangles and stuff. So kind of an easy target. But aside from the hits, this video is obviously about interval training, and what we tried to do is demonstrate a way to implement interval training just like you would in the gym to a mock tactical game stage. So again, this is like the 4th time I said it in the video. Tactical game stages are work, shoot, work, shoot. You do that as fast as you can. Today, what we did was we worked as fast and hard as we could for a specific amount of time, just like you would in the gym. And during our set amount of rest time, we got as many shots off as we could at the target. And what we tried to do is get 100% hits, but like I already said, I suck at shooting, and that isn't possible. So hope you guys got something out of this. Again, implement that interval training, especially if you're training for the tactical games. It's going to help build your capacity. And if you're doing intervals around weights, it's going to build your capacity with strength. If you're doing intervals around speed for like running or even like ruck running like we did today, it's going to build your capacity and your speed. So again, hope you guys got something out of this. Appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, this is Brandon at T.REX.